All right, Step, we are in our last 5A district in the Houston area. It's 11 5A Division 1. And like I said last week, boy, this division did quite well in the postseason. Angleton
Save
went
the
all
best for last, right? We saved the
best
best
for
for last.
last.
Yeah.
Best for
Yeah.
last. Angleton went on a journey, man. They went all the way to what was it? It was the state semi, right?
They went to the state
State
semifinals.
semis, and they had to beat La Porte to get to that. And their buddies at La Porte. You talk about La Porte before I get to Angleton, man. You're like, oh, they're gonna miss Tyrese Barnes and Ricky Sandoff that graduated. But we have Sean Simon right here. All he did was become newcomer of the year. I'm sure they'll find a second guy to match up with him in that wild offense. Talk to me about La Porte first, and then we'll go in deep in on the Angleton.
Yeah, La Porte actually was the district champs last year. They ran the table with 7-0 in district play, beat Angleton in the regular season, lost to them in the fourth round of the playoffs in a classic game. I think La Porte's going to be really, really good this year, Ward. I mean, they got 7 starters back on both sides of the ball. I think Coach Bernithi and those guys are thinking they have a legit shot to play for a state championship this year. And I think La Porte and Angleton both have legitimate shots to get to AT&T Stadium. They are both state championship contenders. I expect both to be in the top 10 in the preseason polls, and I think both are going to be. I think we could see these two teams play twice again next year. I love Sean Simon. Aiden Sines is back running that offense. I think you're going to see La Porte open it up just a little bit more this year. They have a really good receiver in Peyton Smith. They have an outstanding tight end in Riker Reynolds. And they've got an experienced quarterback there in Aiden Sines, who's a 3-year starter. So I do think La Porte will be a little more wide open this year. Now, Kevin Bernithi's going to run that wing tee. They're going to stick to it. But when he's had guys who could throw the football, he's not afraid to put the ball up. And I do think this year we'll see La Porte be a little more wide open while they break in another running back to pair with Sean Simon. But the Bulldogs are going to play tough defense. And they're excited over there. They're brand spanking new stadium.
Finally ready.
They get to play home games. I'm coming to the PNG game this year. I'm going to be in the house to check out the new stadium. There's a lot of excitement in La Porte, and a lot of it has to do with this tremendous football team. They've got a linebacker, Ashton Ruffin, that I love, hard-hitting dude. La Porte plays physical, smash-mouth football. And the other team aside from them, Angleton in this district, it's almost like the Spider-Man meme. They're pointing at each other. They're very similar in a lot of ways. And I think Angleton – Coach Jason Britton Ball Club is going to be really, really good again this year as well.
Yeah, especially with Bryce Duran coming back. Duran, or how you pronounce it? Duran?
Duran.
Mm-hmm. Bryce Duran coming back behind center. He's got the experience of going 5 rounds deep in the playoffs, and they were right there in that game. They
lost by 7. They lost 21-14.
Exactly. They were right there. They really made a run there at the end. I believe they were down most of the game and came up with a couple late touchdowns, but talk to me about Angleton and what they need to do to surpass the momentum that's going on over there at La Porte this year.
Well, I think they need to open the offense up a little bit more. They struggled late in the year moving the football consistently, and I think getting wide receiver Caleb Jammer back from injury is going to be big for them. Jammer, in the first 3 games of the year, had 4 touchdown catches, and then he got hurt, and they caused Angleton to really kind of have to lean on the running game quite a bit. So I think having Jammer back with the experience of Duran at quarterback will help open up the Angleton offense. They're going to be explosive. They're going to be dynamic. Now, Angleton's got questions. They lose a lot on the defensive front 7, and that's why I think La Porte, at least early on, is a slight edge over Angleton, because I think La Porte has a little bit more back. They're a little more complete team right now. Angleton's got to replace a lot of guys in that front 7. Their secondary is going to be great. Case and Jammer. They've got Jammers running all over the place there in Angleton. Trayvon Latimer, their secondary is going to be outstanding, but they got to replace those guys in the front 7, and that's going to tell the tale for Angleton in 2025 how their defensive front 7 comes along.
Well, talking about the rest of this district, another team that's got to make a replacement is over that Big Red Machine over there at Crosby, where a lot of that offense went through Wesley Yarborough. He's not there no more. Talk to me about how the Cougs are going to do, and then maybe talk a little bit about Friendship, who is another playoff squad.
Yeah, I think Crosby, Joe Willis has done a good job there at Crosby, got them to 3rd place last year. They bring back a lot of guys, but they lose that guy in Wesley Yarborough. So they got to replace that. So they're going to have to retool, I think, count on some guys who maybe played supporting roles last year, guys like Josh Jackson, the athlete, and their quarterback, Lott Robeson. They're going to have to rely on those guys a lot more this year, but Coach Willis has done a good job. I think Crosby still gets the nod for the 3 seed. I think where things get really interesting is for that 4 spot. Friendswood got it last year. I think the margins between Friendswood, Kingwood Park, Porter, and if you really want to dream on somebody, Fort Bend, Kempner, those 4 teams, there's going to be kind of a battle for 4th place. I think Kempner's still a step back, but I think KP, Kingwood Park, Porter, and Friendswood are very evenly matched. I think it's going to be a real dogfight for that 4th playoff spot.
I know Porter's bringing back that Stone Singletary behind center, and he's Stone. He's got that Stone type focus in there.
14 touchdowns last year. They've got a good wide receiver coming back in Zamarian King. So Porter's got some pieces around him. Kempner, they've got a guy, a running back, Mekhi Jenkins, who I like quite a bit. And they're going to have a coach's kid at quarterback. They're going to have Troy DeGar Jr. Playing quarterback, the son of head coach Troy DeGar. And so junior quarterback, you have a coach's kid at quarterback. That could help propel Kempner into being a little bit more competitive and maybe pushing for that 4th playoff spot as well. So this district is obviously you've got kind of 3 tiers. I think Crosby's kind of on their own little tier there at number 3. But I think you got Angleton and La Porte at the top, and then you got those 4 teams battling it out there for that last playoff spot. Actually, there's 3 teams. 4. There's 4 actually, and then you got Pasadena. Kind of, the Eagles are struggling right now. It's just they dropped down from 6A to 5A, and they still struggled. So
they're still struggling.
They just don't have the numbers to compete. Yeah, it's just tough for Pasadena to compete from a numbers standpoint.
I got you. All right. Well, you already said it. You're gonna say it again. Give me 1 through 9.
All right, let's go
1 through 8.
1 through 8. Let's go. La Porte 1, Angleton 2, Crosby 3. I'm gonna go Kingwood Park 4, Friendswood 5, Porter 6, Kempner 7, and Pasadena 8.
All right. Well, that'll get a new team in the playoffs if that happens with Kingwood Park, but we'll see what happens. Man, we're probably gonna see La Porte Angleton twice again maybe this year.
I think there's a good chance. There's a good chance we can. There was a lot of. I was at the second game at NRG Stadium last year. It was a lot of fun, and it'll be a lot of fun again this year if they play.
That'll be pretty sweet. That was a 1-score game too, wasn't it? Was that
24-21?
Okay, excellent. For some reason, I was thinking 35-28, but I was way off. I appreciate you, Step, and we will talk to you again next week.